Hi, foodies.
Hi, foodies.
I have Jay here with me today, and he's agreed to answer some questions because some topics have come up this week from some of our foodies. Maybe new foodies that have started following us, or foodies that have just begun their journey and they're trying to reverse their diseases. And you guys know that we have reversed our chronic diseases. Jay reversed high cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure. I reversed high blood pressure, diabetes. He was on medication, I was not. So I'm going to have him give you the perspective of somebody that reversed diabetes and did it after being on decades of medication, and how that looks, because a lot of people get scared, and the one thing that they get scared about is carbs. What kind of carbs were you scared that the doctors made you scared of?
All carbs.
All carbs.
Potatoes, rice, sugar, anything sweet, any kind of bread. Pasta.
All the rices.
Pasta. All the rices.
Muffins, baked goods.
Yeah, all of it.
Anything that was a pastry or bread.
Bread. Anything that I liked.
Bread.
Basically.
All the things that he loved, he was deathly afraid of eating because he thought that his blood sugar was going to spike, that it was bad for his diabetes. Why?
Right.
Because all of these years, we were told by his doctors that he needed to reduce the carbs, and only have lean animal protein and veggies and salads on that plate. So that's how we lived. We lived with just animal protein on the plate and lots of veggies and salads on the plate because we thought that that's what was going to manage his blood glucose. But did it?
No.
No.
It did not at all.
And you were on medication.
And I was deprived and miserable because I couldn't eat anything that I liked.
That's right. And
it was getting worse over time.
Right. And they were still increasing your medication, even though you were trying to eat right.
Yep.
You had started walking 5 miles a day and you had lost 30 pounds.
Right.
Before we even began our whole foods and plant-based journey, he had gone on a health journey mission for himself, and he had done what the doctors had told him to do, which was, eat the lean animal, the veggies, the salad, all of the plants on that plate, but he still had the animal on that plate, was walking 5 miles a day, had lost the 30 pounds that the doctors had told him that if he lost 30 pounds, you could get off your medications or lower your medications. And instead, what happened?
Oh, it kept going up. It was getting worse. And, I was losing a little bit of weight. And the doctor had said that if you lose 30 pounds, we can probably take you off the medication. I lost the 30 pounds and my A1C actually got worse. So it was a very frustrating time. And that's when we had cleaned up.
And we were truly, we had always for 20 years tried the lean animal protein, but it's hard, right? Because the plate is only animal protein and the veggies.
Right.
And here you are watching your friends eat muffins and cake and bread and potatoes and pasta. And so you would have a little bit of it and manage the plate with the best things possible on it, thinking that it would take care of your glucose, and it didn't. So one of the things that I want you foodies to hear him talk about is the factor that when you are trying to reverse your chronic diseases, especially diabetes, it takes time and your body will yo-yo. So what did it look like in the beginning when we started eating potatoes? Now, we started eating whole foods. Instead of simple carbs, instead of white rice and potatoes and pastas and white bread and the white muffins and cupcakes and cookies, we switched all of that for black rice and red rice and whole grain rice and brown rice and purple rice. And we do the array of potatoes. We do white potatoes and red potatoes and purple potatoes and Hana potatoes and Japanese potatoes, all of those. The orange
pastas were all with whole grain flours or lentils or
That's our favorite.
Chickpea pasta. So it wasn't enriched white anything or enriched wheat anything. It was all lentil.
It was still carbs.
It was still carbs, yeah.
Lots of carbs.
Definitely.
Because suddenly Your plate went from not having air fried french fries, not having potatoes, not having mashed potatoes, not having that giant bowl of
Yeah.
sweet peas that are a carby vegetable, not having the carrots on the plate, to suddenly having tons of carrots, tons of sweet peas, tons of potatoes, especially tons of potatoes.
Right.
And that was scary for you.
Yeah.
You kept
definitely.
saying, stop putting so much stuff on my plate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you did that, when the first times that you ate those potatoes and took your glucose, because you take your glucose every day, how did that yo-yo look like?
Oh, in the beginning, it yo-yoed a lot. And even when I was eating healthy things, when I was having some of the things that have more carbs in it, it would spike up. And I was really concerned about that, thinking I need to go back to the animal, right? I was looking for an excuse to get off the whole foods and go back to the animal, even though that wasn't working, which was stupid. But when I talked to my sister-in-law,
who's the physician that helped us change our life, because she's an obesity medicine specialist that specializes in reversing chronic diseases. You guys can find her information on our page. So she's the one that helped us.
Right.
So what does she tell you?
So she was like, this is perfectly normal for it to yo-yo, because your body is trying to heal itself, and it's not going to happen overnight, and it will take some time, weeks, months. So don't get discouraged. This is your body trying to learn how to deal with the carbohydrates naturally without medicine. So when we first went whole food plant-based, it was about a month, 3 weeks, I think, before I had my first A1C. And it actually, I was off of the medicine.
A1C blood work.
Blood work, yes, lab work. So they drew blood, they tested my A1C, and that was my marker. And so on the medicine, it was still definitely in the diabetic range. And then after 3 weeks, with consulting with my sister-in-law, who's the doctor, and my own personal, what's he called? My primary care physician, they said, okay, let's try to take you off the medicine. So I did. I went from the dosage that I had been taking for years, decades, more than a decade, to off of it completely. And 3 weeks later, my A1C stayed about the same as it was on the medicine. But the difference was that I had switched almost completely cold turkey, not exactly, to
and it was your body
food,
healing, right?
Yes.
It was your body trying to do it, right?
Yes, I switched to a whole food plant-based, and I was on that for 3 weeks. And then my A1C stayed the same, which was a huge win for me, because I was off of the medicine, changed my diet, and my A1C stayed the same. And my sister-in-law, the doctor, said, that's amazing that it stayed the same and didn't go way up. This is your body telling you that you can do it, and let's just stick with it. And 3 months later, my A1C improved to pre-medicine levels, and then kept going down from there. So
yeah. So in summary, when your body is trying to heal, it's going to yo-yo, especially if you're a glucose reader that takes your glucose every day, or you have a glucose monitor. You're gonna see those carby foods, and you're gonna see certain foods spike you a little bit. And that's where you shouldn't get scared, because a lot of people get scared and they go, oh, I can't have sweet potato because it spiked me to this number, or I can't have this. So one of the things that we did is we balanced. So my sister drilled into my head in the beginning. I've always said that we're each other's guinea pigs and that we're her guinea pigs. So in the beginning, when we saw those spikes and we saw those things happen, she explained that that was normal, that it was perfectly normal for the body to spike, and for his body now off medication, it's like a machine trying to rev up and do the work on its own and do it well. After it's been doing it only because medication has been telling it to try to do it well. And it's been struggling even with the medication. It's like the medication is this oily grease that gets, dirty, and you need better grease. So they come in with a little bit more medication, and then they're going to add a little bit more medication or a different dosage, and then the oil gets better, and then you get a little bit better. So now his body was trying to do all of this healing on its own and try to manage his body and do all of the glucose managing on its own. So she told me balance the plate when we noticed that he would have a sweet potato, and he would have the sweet potato with some veggies and stuff. And then we would analyze our plate, and she would analyze it with me, and we would analyze all the ingredients that were on that plate. And she kept drilling into our head, balance, balance. You have to have the same balance that your doctors used to tell you about animal protein and the veggies on that plate. You need to have on a whole food plant-based plate. You need to have a protein, which will be your bean and legumes. Everything on that plate is protein, but you need the power protein. So you're going to grab some power proteins like tempeh, tofu, and beans and legumes. And then the next little section, the plate diagram that I always show, maybe you want to pull out the plates from back there, you are going to add the carbs, the good carbs, the potatoes, the carrots, the veggies that are starchy, the breads, the grains, the quinoa, the rices, all of that. So don't be scared of breads as long as they're whole grains. So then the next section of the plate is going to be, and you can hold that one up too. So then the next section of the plate, the bigger portion of the plate, is going to be those non-starchy vegetables. So as long as every time that you put something in your mouth, a snack, a smoothie, a plate of salad, a bowl, as long as you have this balance in that bowl, in that plate, in that smoothie, in that snack. He used to come by. I have grab and go foods. You guys know that I talk about that we should have grab and go foods at all times, at our disposal. So the top of our counters always has raw fruits and vegetables that we can grab. He will eat raw potatoes like it's no tomorrow. In the fridge, we'll have fruits and dips and veggies. So he would walk by and grab an apple and be eating it. And I would go, balance. And so he would go right back into the fridge and grab a silken tofu and dip it into the silken tofu, something that had the protein in it to balance that apple. So always think about that balance, because that balance is going to scare you less when you are looking at the carb on your plate.
Right.
So, and yesterday we had curry. We're 2 years in. He's off medications. I've lost 67 pounds. He's lost more than 88 pounds. And yesterday you were making a curry, and you have been tempted all week not to put that carb on that curry.
Yep.
And all week he goes, well, what can I put with this curry? And I'm like, there's red rice in there. And he looks at me like hesitant. And so then he measured it the first day, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, well, I'm measuring it. And I'm like, well, why are you measuring it? And I could tell that he was measuring because he's scared of that carb.
Still 2 years later.
And but now he knows that what he did is he actually measured 1 cup, and then he put an entire cup of the curry or more on top of the rice. And the curry is a curry that's powerhouse with a lot of cruciferous veggies, and he knew that.
Chickpeas, which is the higher protein, power protein.
And tofu, because I put tofu in it.
Yeah, so that was the protein in the curry. So it was high protein.
And the veggies. It was high protein, and it had all the non-starchy veggies. So the starchy was the whole grain rice. So the balance was there on that plate, but he was still scared of it. So you guys are going to be scared of it too. I know that you guys have that mentality of, it's something is going to spike. My bread is going to spike. And we all have that. Well, pasta makes me spike. Potatoes make me spike. My glucose. Muffins make me spike. But if they're balanced, they should not.
Right.
Whenever he
so
ate
key messages is in the beginning, it's going to yo-yo while your body learns to heal. You've spent your lifetime up until now maybe eating not whole food plant-based. So your body has learned how to deal with that. Now your body needs to learn how to deal on its own naturally and heal itself. That takes time. Balance is super important, and just be patient and keep it keep it balanced, and it'll help minimize. Like my blood glucose this morning after that rice that I was concerned about, it was a red rice. Granted, it wasn't a white rice,
yeah.
or even a brown rice. My blood glucose this morning was amazing. So it was fantastic. So
Yep.
it worked out really well.
So we do use all of those carbs that everyone's scared about. The white rices, the muffins, the cookies, the breads, especially the breads, the potatoes, the pastas. All of them have a whole food and plant-based counterpart. That's what you need to know. So the potatoes that you're eating are powerhouses. Why? Because they don't have the bad things that we did to potatoes before, where we would put bacon and sour cream and chives and
Yeah.
butter, we would load them with the wrong things. So when we were eating a loaded baked potato, it might have chili in it, but it was meat chili instead of a bean chili.
High
So
fat.
yeah, high fat.
Sour cream, butter.
So it
bacon
wasn't the
bits.
potato.
No,
It
it
was
wasn't the
the-
potato. It was all the crap we put on it.
Correct.
It was the bad stuff.
Yeah. So the bad saturated fats plus the animal saturated fats that you put on your food plus the white enriched are what you should truly be scared of. The simple carbs are what you should be scared of. As long as you have a whole food and plant-based plate, your body will heal. It takes some people longer than it might have taken Jay. We were 100% committed. That's the other thing. If you're
Except for the Creamer Chronicles.
Well, Creamer, that's a long story in and of itself, the Creamer Chronicles. But it took him a long time to give up dairy creamer, but everything else was whole food plant-based. And when he finally let it go, when he finally let go of the dairy creamer, boom, his last medication was off and his numbers regulated, and it was the one thing that he had left behind.
Yep.
So one thing that you need to know is that as long as you have the whole food and plant-based and you're doing it as close to 100% as possible, know that if you stick to it and you're consistent, you are going to be healing your body, and your body does not heal overnight. It took time to destroy it. It took time to get on medication. So it's going to take time to heal it and get off. So while you're doing that healing process, you're going to see a yo-yo that's going to scare you, that's going to try to take you back to that scare factor of medications and thinking that your body can't reverse. But stick to it, because every 3 months we do our blood work. Every 3 months we saw improvement, until now we're completely off medications, and that happened within 7 months. Within 7 months he was completely off medications, and I had reversed my things within 3 months of starting, and mine have stayed consistently well for the entire 2 years, every 3 months that we've blood tested, and they've gotten better and improved every time. His has too. So if you stay consistent, but if you are on a whole food plant-based mission and you're only doing it 50% or 60% or 70%, and you still have some animal, you need to be aware, or dairy, you need to be aware, or too many saturated fats, you need to be aware that it's going to take longer for this process. It's going to take longer to reverse diseases. It's going to take longer for your body to heal. So your frustration is going to be longer, and you're going to see bigger spikes of yo-yo. So that is something that you need to consider. Okay, guys, we are actually making breakfast. Jay's making our usual, which is soy yogurt, oatmeal, and I'm making Benedictine. So we're going to make a little video about that. We're going to let you go with this. Hope it's been helpful. One thing is that what's the thing that you're happiest about eating that you were so scared of eating before?
Oh, there's a lot of things. Rice, potatoes, and pasta. Those, I was depriving myself of all those things, which I love, which meant no Mexican, no Italian, and no potatoes, which I love. So all three of those, being able to eat those, make me so happy. I mean, they're whole food versions of that. I mean, potatoes are brilliant as long as you don't put crap on them. They are a complex carbohydrate. We just didn't know that.
And hardly any calories.
And hardly
And
any
they
calories.
fill
And
you.
they're very filling.
Satiating.
Right. So I love that. I love to not feel hungry. And so I can eat a ton of that. But I love eating the rice. I love the rice, but it's not white rice, and
It's a whole grain rice.
whole grain rice. I
Yeah.
love the red
And
rice
Italian?
and black rice. Oh my gosh. And the pastas. I mean, 10 years ago when somebody would say, hey, let's go Italian, I'm like,
No.
no.
We would always say,
Because there was
"No, we
nothing
don't
there
do
I
it."
could eat.
Yeah, we would always say, no, we don't do Italian because of Jay's diabetes, because
Right.
he can't have pastas and he can't have this.
It was horrible to
Yep.
feel deprived and left out, you know.
Now, keep in mind, if you go to an Italian restaurant, they're not going to have the whole grain pastas, but sometimes you can find things that you can eat there. But we make it at home. So now that's how I got him. I got him with Mexican and I got him with Italian. So I cook to his flavors. He loves Mexican, he loves Italian. I don't love it so much, so I sacrifice myself. And I got him with the flavors that he likes by making tons of Mexican foods and tons of Italian flavored foods. And that's
The
how he
lentil bolognese pasta is
it's on our feet.
amazing.
All right, guys. Hope you're having a happy day.
Bye.